Recently, a YouTuber going by KilloCrazyMan started the Minecraft community by walking all the way to the Farlands. The Farlands are a mesmerizing and kind of haunting bit of Minecraft history that seasoned players are all too familiar with. Walking all the way out there was no easy feat and involved crossing over 12 million blocks. But what if he had gone further? What if instead of going 12 million blocks, KilloCrazyMan walked 24 million, 100 million, a billion blocks? What weird and incredible effects would have happened to his world? From the Farthest Lands to 128 block long redstone to the complete corruption of sound, what happens to your Minecraft world as you go further and further out? And why do the Farlands actually generate in the first place? Let's find out, and I hope you enjoy. Just really quickly though, only a really small percentage of people watching my videos are actually subscribed, so if you enjoy this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. It helps with the channel a ton and really means the world to me, and you can undo it whenever you'd like. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy. Let's explore today what happens to your Minecraft world as you go further and further out, as well as why. Well, in normal Minecraft, how far out can you go? Most people should be familiar with the world border. The world border is a magic barrier that can't be broken or pushed past, and it naturally generates around 30 million blocks in each direction. That said, it can be customized by the use of commands, and you can set it as small as you'd like, but the max size limit is 60 million, hence the 30 mil in each direction. If you try to set it any higher, you'll be greeted with this error message. So is that it? No, you can go further. Much, much further, into the billions of blocks if you wanted to. But you may be asking first, where are the Farlands? Well, the Farlands actually generate at only 12,550,821 blocks out. But if that's the case, however, why can't we find them? That's because they were removed. The Farlands actually weren't intentional features of Minecraft, they were a bug and were patched. But they aren't the only ones. There is actually a whole family of Farlands, with each one considerably weirder than the last. There are the Farlands, the Fartherlands, the Fartherer Lands, the Farthest Lands, the Vertex Farlands, Void Farlands, and Sky Farlands. Let's go one at a time. The Farlands are the Farlands. Everyone's familiar with them. They're these huge monstrosities with gaping holes throughout them like Swiss cheese land. The Sky Farlands are just the Farlands, but in the sky and flipped on their side. If there was no build limit, the Sky Farlands would naturally generate past Y25 million. It's really cool. The Void Farlands are the opposite. In the void. You can't see these without significant modding to the game, but they are just as cool of a sight, going endlessly downwards and filled with water, as any block below Y63 that isn't in a cave will be defaultly filled with water. It's also really cool and really mysterious. When all three Farlands meet, the Void, Sky, and Regular, you are met with the Vertex Farlands, a weird diagonal mishmash of terrain generation of algorithms all failing. It's quite the view, and probably my favorite of all the Farlands. But what's beyond? We'll get to that. Firstly though, how do the Farlands generate in the first place? Well, a better question is, how does terrain generate? Minecraft terrain is generated with Perlin noise. Perlin noise is a really cool subject, but also very complicated. I'll do my best to simplify it. Perlin noise is generated with octaves and is used to make natural-looking random number generation, or a kind of smooth random. It does this, and I'm massively oversimplifying, by taking a random graph, the first octave, and then adding more octaves on top, each combining with more levels of detail to make the randomization still random, but far more smooth. Minecraft's terrain is built around 16 octaves, with precision down to 171 units per block. Very frequent randomization. Keep that number in mind for later, it will come up again. However, for technical reasons I won't get into, once the numbers get too big, the same not anymore random result is chosen a bunch of times, hence that never-ending air tunnels in the Farlands. It's either a block or air, randomly. The reason the Farlands start where they do is that's the point where the error begins and the overflowing starts. 2 to the 31 divided by 171 units per block begins to overflow at 12,550,800, the exact coordinates of the Farlands. Because the bug is due to code, the Farlands can also generate in the nether or end, or at least they can with the mod I have. It's really mesmerizing, and I do recommend checking it out, and I'll leave a link to the mod down below if you want to experience the Farlands for yourself. For better or for worse, people at Mojang found this bug and also found a very clever way to fix it, thus killing the Farlands. However, as I said, if you want to experience them for yourself, you can check out the mod in the description. But what else happens to the world as you go further into the millions? Within the first few million blocks, nothing too peculiar happens. There are some minor bugs once you get higher, but you can only go so far. Sounds may break down slightly, rain gets stretched, and irregular temperature generation can lead to blockier and patchier snow, but nothing too strange. No, it's only when you really start going to the world border where things get weird. Hopping into Minecraft 1.7 and going 29 million blocks out results in some very strange occurrences. Rails, ladders, string, and redstone dust all get very stretched out, leading to some very cursed image material. String gets warped into this grid-like texture, and pistons look especially cursed this far out and kind of scare me. The vertical piston head looks like a full block, while the horizontal one looks like someone stepped on it. The animation is also very buggy. In earlier versions, if you're able to get 1 billion blocks out past the world border, redstone dust can render as large as 128 blocks, completely breaking the game and my head. The hitboxes of cacti and cake completely shatter, becoming those of a ladder. That rhymed. The faces of hoppers, flower pots, and cauldrons break down, which can be seen in this clip and these images. Paintings and item frames can't really decide where they want to be and can't function correctly, placing themselves in very strange locations relative to their parent block. Item frames especially look like they aren't really sure where they want to be, which is quite funny. The texture of end portals breaks completely and warps out, becoming black and staticky. Lily pads experience very weird rendering glitches and can appear either minuscule or stretched at exactly X or Z 8,388,608. Anywhere beyond this and they don't render at all, while anywhere before this and they're completely fine. It's really weird. But to really experience chaos, we need to break the world border. Installing a mod for 1.12, which will be linked below, allows me to go out as far as the 32-bit integer limit, or 2 to the 31 blocks out, or 2 billion. And it only gets worse from here. In versions 1.14 and up, lighting completely breaks once you get to 33 million blocks and just shuts down. The only way to see is with night vision, and if you were to go 33 million blocks out in InfDev, the world would be completely stone all the way to build height, stretching infinitely in all directions. Not a good fate either way. Once you reach 1 billion blocks out, things really begin to break down. Particles from blocks like redstone ore appear very far away from the actual block. The book of an enchanting table sometimes remains closed and never opens. Mob spawning and pathfinding also break, banners stop blowing in the wind, and crystals spawn incredibly far away from the original obsidian, and TNT also spawns incredibly far away from where it was originally lit. The exploding of both these objects leads to the particles to form a ring as opposed to a sphere. That's kinda cool in my opinion. Sleeping in a bed puts you randomly away from the actual bed, and sounds completely break down, with sometimes no sound, sometimes a loud sound, and sometimes jittering static. Village generation corrupts 2 to the 30 blocks out, and now we've reached our limit. Sadly, my mods can only force generation up to the 32-bit integer mark, but if you could go further in older versions, you'd experience the Farthest Lands. Anywhere from 1 billion to 53 quadrillion blocks out are the Farthest Lands. Each subsequent Farlands variant is the result of yet another octave of Perlin noise collapsing on itself, leading to stranger and stranger terrain. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. In Minecraft, blocks further than 34 billion will not even try to generate, crashing the game completely and making it unplayable. This cannot be fixed without super intense modding, and to my knowledge, this is the current limit. However, in theory, if you were to push it further, you'd be in for a treat. Anywhere from 53 quadrillion, 905 trillion, 378 billion, 846,979,747 blocks out to 4 quintillion, you'd be in the Farthest Lands. The Farthest Lands are similar to the Farlands, but more stretched and thin. And it doesn't stop there. The maximum number that can be represented as a 64-bit integer is 9 quintillion, etc., etc. This is the theoretical limit of Minecraft, as most systems running on 64 bits could not physically generate terrain any further out. That being said, anywhere from 4 quintillion to this number is the Farthest Lands. These will be the final frontier of Minecraft, and as far as I know, they have never been visited or generated. Trying to see them with a customized world type in 1.12 results in a similar display to the original Farlands, but much more corrupt. However, there is no proof this is what they actually look like. And who knows, there could be more Farlands out there if we push into further and further numbers. But as far as we know, pun intended, the Farthest Lands are as large as it gets. Or are they? Because in Beta 1.8, a player by the name of Oregunner managed to teleport past 2 to the 1075 blocks, or 1.8 times 10 to the 308th power, or this number. This completely destroys any of the previous numbers in magnitude and is the maximum number that can be conceived by most computers. This was achieved with very intense game modification, and this number is so large that the x-coordinate in-game actually rolled over into infinity. If you're curious as to how this number exists in the first place, it relies on the use of something called double precision floating point format, a different and much more versatile way of storing numbers as opposed to regular integer binary notation. I'll leave a link to the Wikipedia article below if you're interested on the subject and want to learn more. Currently though, this is the theoretical limit of Minecraft, and I doubt that anything will ever surpass this number. But we have yet to see, and I look forward to seeing that I'll be mistaken and somebody breaks that limit. However, with all of that said, that wraps up today's video, so thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. Be sure to always aim for the Farthest Lands, and as always, peace out, have a good one.